subscribe or gives us thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Hi, good afternoon. Hello? Yes.
How are you doing today?
Good. This is another week. We are looking at Kenya's fluid politics. You know, Kenyans amaze me. Now, the Kenya's divided opposition. We have had so many things and we have discussed this. So this week. Now, one of the major things which I really do not understand, it is where are these opposition going? Position in Kenya. What do you see? It's very confusing.
You know, many years ago, maybe probably 4 years ago or 5, I'll use the same words that the current president, Dr. Ruto, used. That you don't know which part of the government is a government and which part is the opposition. He at the time he said the government is the opposition and the opposition is the government, when Raila had a handshake with the former President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yeah.
The same thing has happened in the current situation, where I understand, and it's not confirmed yet, and partly so, that half of the top leadership of ODM, which is supposed to be the leading opposition party, are actually in government.
Yeah.
And there are talks that they are going to have a working relationship leading into the next elections. And the former deputy president is now the leading opposition, who was supposed to be in government.
Yeah.
We don't know really whether there exists an official opposition as such, because as Azimio la Umoja, which is supposed to be the official opposition in parliament, has been disintegrated. Functions are, some are supporting the government, some are opposing the government. So really, and we have another half of what was supposed to be the government opposing the government. So if you look at Rigathi Gachagua, who was supposed to be deputy president, now he has moved and switched positions with Raila Odinga. And Raila is actually tampering, because he realizes that the swearing of the population of Kenya is not for what he's about to do. And so he's kind of putting his feet on two sides of the population. Those that are
so is it wrong to say that policies of Kenya is shaped by Raila alone? Looks like wherever Raila wants to take the country, it looks like he takes the country there, because we thought he was going to AU and maybe could have left the scene, but he has come back. And it looks like since he came back, that momentum which was going to opposition is dying out.
His energy and influence hasn't really faded per se, but you will say this: if he's going to join the current president to run the government, essentially he has shot himself on the foot, and he has to go all the way and support Ruto in 2027. He has used his joining the government and eventually turning against that same government as a policy to stay on both sides of the coin. Because every time Raila runs for presidency, he loses it 5 times and eventually joins the same government that he was supposed to have won, that he lost to. And every time he comes out strong and becomes the leading opposition candidate. I don't know if that will happen again in 2027, that he's going to join Ruto and then eventually again turn against him, to run against him.
But
I don't know how that's going to occur this time around.
But given the way the Kenya, the way it appears to me, I mean, he's headed to support. He would have to support Ruto come 2027. Raila has no any other recourse. That the only person is going to support will be Ruto, even if the population is against. And this is a strategy that the opposition have to look at it. Raila was supported last time, but I think now he's also jam offensive against the Kikuyu nation, or what Mlima. Let me say. And one of the culprits was Gachagua. Gachagua went down because of Raila. Remember that Gachagua used to say it, ameweka mitego kila mahali. So, and then the next, Raila has to repay Ruto. Ruto supported him and his challenging group in 2007. When Ruto said support Raila, they supported him. But Raila has supported the Kikuyus, but they have never reciprocated. So I see like 2027, he owes Ruto. And if he supports Ruto, Ruto keeps his base in Kalenjin land and the Western. Do you think opposition has a way out of? I see like he would be in the upper position to me. I mean, it's my scenario.
It's going to be, again, it's too early even to say how the formations will eventually end up.
Yeah.
There are two specific scenarios that are likely to happen.
Yeah. We
for sure know President Ruto is going to defend his seat. That's a fact.
Yeah.
What we don't know, though, is who within the ranks of the opposition is going to run for presidency, whether they are going to be one or several strong candidates.
Mm.
My take is this. The opposition will be split, and there will be two or three strong factions running against Ruto.
Mm.
And these are probably going to be around the following groups. The Mlima people do understand and know very well that if they front a candidate from central Kenya, then likely Ruto will win that election very early in the morning, because the rest of Kenyans will feel like this seat is pouncing between two tribes, and that's not what everybody's going to be happy about. And therefore, because they know that, they are likely, they have said it before, they are likely to select somebody outside of Mlima Kenya to rally behind that person. And that person will come a very strong first or strong second if there is going to be a third candidate. Meaning that there will be a rerun of elections. And why do I say there might be a third candidate? Kalonzo Musyoka has been supporting Raila for a while. And if Raila will not run, if Raila will not support Kalonzo this time round, Kalonzo will no doubt run for that presidency. And if the Mlima will not support him, he's going to run anyway. He will come a third strong, not second, but third. And that means if there are three strong candidates, there's not going to be one person with 50 plus 1. Meaning there will be a rerun between the first and second. The first and second will be the person who, either one of the two, the sitting president or the one that Mlima Kenya will support. And when that happens, now this is where it's going, the rubber is going to hit the road. This is where now people will coalesce around one person. If that person is coming from a smaller community, away from the big two that have been ruling Kenya since independence, then they might rally behind that person, and that person will eventually trounce Ruto, and Ruto will be the first president in the Republic of Kenya to be a one-term presidency.
Well, but do you see the scenario I'm saying is I really don't see the way the opposition is going on. People are talking here. More especially, Gachawa's utterances are not going anywhere. Because Gachawa is always talking about Murima. As if it's another country in Kenya. He has never been a nationalist. And actually, right now, Gachawa is only getting sympathy for being haunted out of God. But it's not like a person of influence as such, even in what he talks.
Absolutely. But again, he does have influence in central Kenya, though. That sympathy, and mostly politics is about emotions.
Yeah.
And if he can sustain those emotions until 2027, then he can influence how people vote. Because some people, actually, most people go to the polling stations and illogically vote somebody out than voting somebody in. Because people want to walk to the polling stations with emotions that we're going to get this person out. When they get to the polling station, they vote for a person they think will be of their best, will take care of their best interests. And the person who will always take care of their best interests is the person who is the neighbor. And that's why tribalism comes in. So tribalism really is self-preservation, even though it's it's considered a bad thing. People vote for a person they think who understands them, will take care of their interests. And the person who understands you, who will take care of your best interests, because you speak the same language, you have the same culture, and sometimes you perceived common enemy, you vote for that person. Yet, in fact, you end up voting for against your own personal interests, because the person who speaks a different language from you could be having a similar economic situations that they are fighting for.
Given, there was this momentum which was coming to Kenya, like the Genesis, and they were talking about good leadership. But Kenyans forget so fast. Kenyans forget so fast. Even when they are looking for that good leader, in Kenya, you must have financial muscle. And the only way you can have financial muscle is through corruption in most cases. Running a presidential campaign is not a easy thing. Given that the current government, they have really managed to pocket that money through their own means, they will come 2027 with a huge financial, but the basket will be full. And who is that going to come? Who will counter that? Unless you tell me that they want to choose a good leader who's poor.
We have seen that happen in other African countries like Senegal, in the most recent elections, where they selected a very young, almost out of prison gentleman who had nothing, and they prepared him to the presidency. That has happened elsewhere, and I think, and I want to believe, this is my belief, that Kenyans are of age now to look at not the money they are receiving, but at what they will receive after the elections. Because in the past, people are asking them, "Omenipatia nini?" They are looking at what they have received just before they go to the polling station, or at the polling station before they cast their vote. In the future, and as I have seen it, especially from the most recent Gen Z demonstrations which occurred last year, they were questioning things. Kenyans have not really questioned things. They have questioned readers. Who is this? They don't question policy. Now we're starting people to questioning policy and how governance is being carried out. So I believe when they go into the polling station in the next cycle of elections, they are going to go in there with that in mind, that we are going to vote not because we are going to vote somebody out of emotions, but because we're going to vote for somebody out of a conviction that they will do what the policies we think are right for us. So the Gen Z movement, as you may rightly say, it's not dying down. It's taking a sit back, because it's really too early. Remember, this is 2025. We are more than 2 years and 4 months away from an election. And that's a long time.
But
too many things will happen.
Let me tell you, those Chinese who are making noise, they have already been targeted. See, a guy like Makore, who was very eloquent. I saw him in ODM rally. People like Morara, they seem to have been compromised. I don't see Morara posting those things going on. Because of what? Of the people having, they have the cake that hammering the Gen Zs.
I agree with you to that extent, but disagree to the fact that really those two that you just mentioned were never the people who mobilized the Gen Zs. They never mobilized the Gen Zs. The only difference is they became focal during the Gen Z movement. They never really took time to mobilize that group that went out. They were part of that group, but they become focal. And the fact that they were focal, they cannot be called leaders of that group. Those Gen Zs really was more like an amorphous group of people who were coalescing around an idea. And these two happened to be the most focal two people. The fact that you are focal doesn't mean that you are the foundation of the reasoning behind the Gen Z movement. So for me, if you ask me, the reasons why the Gen Z went to the streets, that same reasons are still there. And therefore, when they are going to vote, they're not going to vote with Makaole in mind. That where is Makaole? They're not going to vote where Morara is going. They're going to vote with the same mindset they had when they went into the streets.
So if you are to advise your position now to plan for 2027, what would you advise them?
Is there an opposition to advise in the first place?
So that is the problem of Kenya's politics. We don't have values.
Honestly, because if you look at it, it's very fluid. Yeah. Very fluid. And you can tell that when Raila stepped aside for a period of 6-7 months, we thought that somebody would step up and be the face of opposition. And we were hoping to see Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka step up and really put more energy and be seen to be a president in waiting. I don't think he did show that. Now the hair has been pulled out, the rug has been pulled under him, and he's not, he can't breathe anymore.
Yeah.
So he was given that chance. Honestly, Raila gave him a chance. He stepped away and gave him a free field for him to step up and put pressure and be seen to be the leader of the opposition. But did he do it? I don't know. Maybe Kenyans can tell us. I do not feel that.
He hasn't.
Yeah, and you can see Kenyans are yearning around somebody. There's a vacuum. And they are so used to Raila now. They are about to say, you know what? We know you. We respect you. You've been the face of a position for many years. Now we're moving on. And they say, thank you. Now we're moving on.
Yeah.
And I want to use the same words that the Senate of Nairobi used. Even if they all lined up behind Ruto, come 2027, they want to lose very early in the morning. Because people are not going to vote for Ruto because Sifuna is behind him or Raila is behind him. They're going to vote their stomachs. People are going to vote their stomachs. People are going to vote because they have seen what Ruto can do.
Do you think it's a good time for Raila to exit Kenyan politics so that maybe he can leave people to come on?
If I were him, yes. But maybe one of those discussions we have had before, I'm not sure if it was you who said he may really want to honorably retire. But there are hyenas around him. There are hyenas around him who know that they can only survive if he's actually there. And I know there are so many people from Central Kenya who won elections, not because they are very good, but because they were seen to be the strongest fighting Raila, the enemy.
Yeah.
And there are people also equally from Nyanza who win elections, not because they are very good, but because they are the best defenders of Raila. So when Raila steps aside, even that group will go away and fade away.
Yeah.
So because of that group, those two groups, and they are on both sides. There's some group in Central Kenya who want him to run for presidency, and then they will win because they know
when they have an enemy.
Yes, they have an M. Yet there are people who want him to run because they will defend him.
Yeah. So really, even in now, let's say, Raila has been a leader in opposition with ODM. Do you think he has prepared his successor, a person to take over from him?
If you look at the rank and file of the current ODM, you'll notice that we do have very talent. There's talent. There's talent within the rank and file of ODM. That talent, however, has not been given a chance to showcase their leadership skills, to put up the same correlation into one singular basket like Raila has done.
Yeah.
Because Raila's ODM is dotted all over in Kenya. The pace is in Luo Nyanza, yes, but you'll find readers from all over with the ODM panel. Will these young upcoming readers be able to do what he has done? It took him 25 years to build the pace he has. 25 years. These young leaders, because we know we have people like Orengo, people like Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, who have been in the scene for so long. I'll say since I was a little. Orengo has been in Parliament since the 70s. That's 3-4 decades. He served under the first president, the second president, the third, the fourth, and now the fifth. So there are young people like Papa Guino, who incidentally has been building himself and growing to be a very strong contender to the hair of Raila. I think I've been listening to him most recently. I thought he was an Hekura previously, but he's a very young, strong, very smart young man, very brave. We have Simba from Kisii. When you get to governance, there are two things. You can see Simba was very good as a member of parliament, would make a lot of noise, but as a governor, things are different. You are in the executive now, you're making decisions. It's different from when you are in government and raiding your own government than when you are opposing. We saw Ruto do very well when he was the deputy, but was opposing. He sounded like he will do amazingly well. Once he has been given the executive power, you can see the disaster where Kenya is today.
And that is where the problem of Kenya lies. We have what we call in management, what is that? We call it the Peter Principle. Then the Peter Principle is where we promote a person to a level of his incompetence. Like somebody becomes a very good legislator, then he decided to leave being a legislator. He wants to run to be a governor, where he's supposed to show executive leadership, which he doesn't have. And that's what exactly is happening. If you see most of the people who were senators, they go run to be governors, and they become lousy governors because they don't know about executive. That's why we misplace people. We assume like because he's a good politician, he can do anything.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, exactly. People who can be very good executive officers or presidents are people like Maraga. He's not a very good politician. He just says it as it is. He can govern. We have seen him be a leader. But can he win a presidency? I don't know.
Can he win? Yeah, that's the big question, because Kenya's politics.
It's politics, and the Senator of Nairobi, the young Edwin Sifuna, is very eloquent. Yeah. Very eloquent. Very
but we really don't know. You can become a governor and then becomes a roused governor. Then we could have lost a very good senator.
Absolutely.
Because we have promoted him to a level which is incompetent. Is for example, somebody who's, what can I say? And you have even seen where a teacher is very good at teaching, maybe mathematics, next student pass exam, then he's promoted to be a principal. Then we create a roused principal, and we lose a very good mathematics teacher. That is where we misplace talent in Kenya.
Yeah, it's not just in Kenya. Even now in the US right now, you see what we're doing here. There was a reality TV show.
Don't even talk about US. We are so embarrassed.
Who is now president, and we see where we are at. We're moving from day to day, and business can't even make decisions because he's changing his policies by the whim and by the day, and nobody knows how to even plan ahead and project.
Yeah.
So again, the opposition in Kenya has not really formed. It's finding its way. There was a disruption, and the sitting government is able to disrupt it in a way that now half of the opposition is in opposition and half of it is in government.
Yeah.
Half of the government is in opposition and one half is in the government. So it's kind of very fluid right now as we speak.
What are you seeing in the queue? Raila seems to have changed since he came back. For example, this is one of the things I saw. Raila is demanding for implementation of an article report. And this raises questions over whether we are going to have a prime minister position. What do you think of that? Because it's one of the things. The national dialogue, is he reviving it back? Because it was recommending for a position of opposition leader. They were talking of that. What is he trying to come back to change it since he came back?
You know, Raila is very smart. He reads and it listens to the ground, and before he makes moves, so that he galvanizes the population and puts you in one's basket, so that when he's moving, he moves around with the people. He knew if he came back from Addis Ababa, he had lost, and he's still stuck with Ruto without going back to the ground to be seen to be with the people. Remember. And then walks around with the people, and then brings them to Ruto now. So he's very strategic in this case, saying that, you know what, I'm with you, I am for you, I've been fighting for you, I'm back, I'm going to continue doing the same thing. So that once people look at him like he's still fighting for us, so that whatever moves he makes, he would be seen to be representing the people that he has already galvanized. That's exactly what he's doing. So he's very strategically doing it. He's been doing this for many years. He's done it over and over again. But what I'm asking Kenyans to do this time round, they should look at him with an eye of skepticism. They should stay back and look at him with an eye of skepticism, not to follow him, but watch him from a distance. Because they have seen what he can do. We have seen how much he can push the government. If he wants, he can push it, yes. But is he going to deliver? Now they should be looking for a person who can deliver. That's what Kenyans should be looking for.
Yeah. And to finish, I saw they have now made application for people who are going to succeed the late Chebukati as a chairman. And I saw there were big names there. Some of them people we know. Do you think, or I saw like you say, the people, and I don't know whether I don't know whether one of the qualifications to be a chairman, you have to have a law degree or what. But most of them are lawyers. They have background of law.
The chairman ideally should have law, but I think it's not 100% a must. But there should be people of integrity who have an experience of over 10 years and have mastered several things. I don't have it in front of me. Do you have the list of names that you believe?
I saw people like Oswago, the one who used to be a CEO there, and I think he had some scandal. Charles Nyachai, and what is that? Big names. I can't remember, but it was.
If you ask me, and from our history and past experience, big names don't mean much, in my opinion. Because big names means big names. That's it, and that's where it begins and ends.
Yeah.
Because when we had the late Chebukati come, he was never a big name.
He was never.
It was not a big name. When we had Maraga win and be the Chief Justice, Maraga was not a big name.
Yeah.
When we had the first time we had Fred Matiang'i go into the cabinet, he was never a big name.
He was not a big name, but he did good work.
Yeah, so if people can look at the qualifications of the people and look at who can really deliver, let's not, in my opinion, the big names should be set aside, and let's look at who can deliver, who can provide the leadership, and that would be the best way criteria to use.
Yeah, and I think this selection should be left to firms like KPMG or Pricewaterhouse, like they do. Those one they select competent people instead of setting a panel which is almost biased. They have political leanings, so that we take it off politics. Like somebody who comes like really who has managerial skills and the qualities to run the commission.
Yes, is that the I don't know what the process is for selection. I think there's that commission that was selected to.
No, they selected, like now the panel. They had selected a panel, which now advertise a position. They would interview people to get those positions. I thought,
and already some Kenyans are leaning and looking at the names that have been selected.
Exactly.
Are those names already out in the public?
Yeah, I saw they have highlighted some of the people who. There were 1,356 applicants, 37 for chairmanship, and the rest are for the other commissions.
So the big names out. I'm not a big fan of big names.
Yeah, for sure. They need to get somebody who's competent, and some people, when you are a big name already, you are politically tainted because you are either here or there, so you will not be free as Kenyans. But anyway, Kenya is in a dilemma, and we might be in a situation where the opposition is divided in such a way that during Moi's time, where Moi was winning with less votes, and the chunk of the votes goes to opposition.
Yeah, true enough. But again, this is a new constitution where you can't win with less votes. There is going to be a rerun if there's going to be more than two strong candidates.
But if Kenya can really look for a quality of a person, let them not look at the tribe he comes from, but a person who can really deliver and take a lot of mess which is in the country.
Are Kenyans are ready for that? Absolutely, I think so.
I think we would. I hope they will get that momentum going. Okay, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, see you next week again.